want you guys to grab a mat, maybe 2 pillows, and find a quiet place. I'm gonna grab mine. To be right with you guys. All right, guys, so let's find a quiet place. We're gonna get started. I invite you guys to join me with this. You can certainly re-watch later. So today we're gonna do another Namaste Strong. One of my kind of goals for this month is just to kind of work a little bit more internally. I've made a lot of physical progress over the past several months. In order for me to continue that progress, I'm gonna have to kind of really double down on recovery. So that's gonna be a big part of what we're doing today. Getting the mind right, getting the mind in a healthy spot. All right, so I'm gonna try my best to angle this so you guys can see. So working the kinks out here. I might not be able to see your questions until after the fact, so please bear with me. Okay. Great. So you got a mat here. So a couple of things you can do. You can use some blocks or pillows or whatever. I'm just going to show you whatever you guys have. I'm still having some issues just in my cross-legged position, so I'm actually going to grab 2 mats like this. So if you're flexible, you might be able to sit cross-legged like this. I cannot really do that with a long spine. I'm kind of hunched when I cross my legs, so I'm going to elevate my body, and that allows me a little more wiggle room. Because for myself in particular, when I'm using kind of yoga as a practice in terms of recovery, in terms of helping my mind, my body, my spirit, I never want to be like super uncomfortable. I like to try to stay in like maybe a 3 out of 10 in what my stretch feels like. I'm not trying to be super aggressive with the stretch. I want to work certain positions, ease into it, and really hone in on my breath. Do a lot of nasal breathing, and that's going to help get us in what's called a parasympathetic state, a more restful state. So you never want to really push the positions if you're trying to use these meditation practices, these yoga drills from a recovery standpoint. You could certainly use yoga as a workout, and you certainly can be more aggressive with it. I choose to do my more aggressive style training in the weight room. So it's kind of the yin to my yang, so to speak. So again, today we're going to work in, and the first thing we're going to do is a little meathead meditation. I believe visualization is a great tool, whether you're an athlete, you're trying to improve your athletic performance, or you're trying to improve your mental health, your business, or just any sort of kind of goal, or just kind of bettering yourself. So I want you to get in a good frame of mind today, be open, and I want you to start to breathe. Eliminate anything that was in your mind earlier this week, maybe even the past several months. It's been a crazy couple of months. And I want you to not worry about what's coming today. I want you to be focused and present. And if you're like me, I have a lot of trouble meditating, so by doing some yoga, doing some breathing, that allows me to have a singular focus, which allows me to be more present and kind of eliminate any kind of noise or clutter that's in my head. So that's going to be really important. So I want you to, again, open up your mind, clear your head, and just focus on your breath. Focus on your intention, your goal for the day. My intention and goal for the day is to relax and reset. On Saturdays, my posing practice, it's also my day off from weight training. So I like to use Saturdays as a day to reset my body, to get ready for the week. My week starts on Sunday, personally. So, without further ado, we're gonna do some nasal breathing only. When we breathe, I don't want you to kind of breathe into your shoulders. I want you to breathe low using your diaphragm. Think of your diaphragm like a balloon, and it's going to expand in 3 directions. We're not going to add bracing on top of the breath. We're just going to breathe naturally. So, get up your palms up or palms down. whatever's comfortable. Nice long spine. I invite you to close your eyes, breathe in through your nose. We're gonna start off with a different breath today. We're gonna do a fire breath, just to kind of pick up the energy a little bit, and then we're gonna go into a more relaxing type breath, which is called a box breathing drill. So we're gonna do a little bit of a fire breath. This is kind of a play on something I learned from Tony Robbins. It's a good way to get some energy if you want to use this to start your day. We also have some podcasts on this, so I invite you to try that out. So we're gonna breathe in super quickly through the nose for about 20, 30 times. Long hold, exhale. And again, if you want to use this more as a relaxing situation, breathe through the nose only, nasal breathing only. If you do want to just be a little bit more forceful and let some air out to try to fire up your energy, that is okay too, through the mouth. So, just gonna go like this. Hold. Make sure you don't collapse on the exhale. Again, we're gonna breathe in through the nose. A lot of this stuff may seem silly at first, but I invite you to try it. It really helps. I always feel better after the fact. So we'll do that 2 more times, 2 more fire breaths. Good. Now we're going to go do a couple of box breathing drills. The box breathing, you're going to breathe in for a number of counts. I usually like to start with somewhere between a 3 to 5 count. Breathe in for 3 to 5. Hold for 3 to 5. Breathe out for 3 to 5. Hold for 3 to 5. So that's the box. So we're going to start with a 3 count. Now we're going to try a little longer. We're going to try for 5. And you could progress. You do this while you're walking. You do this while you're seated. You can do this while laying down. Lots of great ways to do box breathing. This is great before bed if you're typically anxious before bed. This is something I've had 2 weeks of kind of poor sleep because I've been so anxious to get back to the gym, get back to work, get the gym back in order. So this is a great technique to help relax you before bed if you're someone that has trouble falling asleep or having quality sleep. So I'm going to try it a little longer this time. We're going to try it for 6. Try it for 7. Notice how my counts got a little quicker. So try not to cheat. We're going to try to do a 10 count, and we're going to try and do it really under control and really nice and slow. So do your best. If you could stay with 3 to 5 if you're newer to this, but you can certainly progress it. For the more advanced yogis out there, I think this will be fun. But this is a great way to kind of relax and kind of improve your capacity, improve your relaxation. If you're in a panic mode, it's not going to be possible, so it kind of forces you to be in a more restful, relaxing state. So let's try that. Not my best, not my worst. I cheated a little bit, but you get the idea. So you can progress, again, with the box breathing. I like to start with a 3 to 5 count, and then you could progress from there. I don't know if there's much benefit to kind of going past 10, unless you're some sort of like Navy SEAL and you're just really trying to learn to be calm and be able to reset your breathing. This is a great way to reset the body, reset your breath. So now we're gonna kind of get into our, we'll go over my normal flowing pattern. So we can use the blocks, so use the mats here. So we're gonna start off with this regular hip flexor stretch. So I'm gonna stack 2 blocks here. You could use a foam roller, you could use a stick. I'm just gently holding here. I'm trying to keep my spine long, my rib cage and pelvis stacked. Still using the breathing technique. And again, I like to hold these positions again for a 3 to 5 count or a 3 to 5 breath. So we'll just do like 1 breath. Just for the sake of demonstrations. And again, if I want to really extend the stretch, I could really come here. I don't need to use the block. So I'm just gonna kind of show some different variations and positions of each. So if I was less flexible, I can go here. If I felt a little better, I can go here. I'm feeling a little bit tight, so I'm gonna use 1 block today. You could certainly use 2. You can go down to the floor. Notice I'm keeping my spine long. If you're really advanced, you could drive the elbow down. I think that's called like a dragon or something, or lizard pose. I don't know all the names personally. You could ask plant-powered Emily what the actual name is. She's an expert in this. And she has some great, she does a lot of work with Medwell Spa, local in Long Island, and I definitely invite you to check that out as well. Now we're gonna go into a hamstring stretch, and those good mornings really got me. So I can kind of also adjust the orientation of the block as well. So this is a little bit deep of a stretch for me right now. I did some really heavy good mornings this week. So I'm going to just stay here because this is a gentle, this is a 3 out of 10 for me. If I go any lower, I'm going to compromise my spine position. Now we're gonna go into a tall pigeon. Pigeon, if you're French. Tall pigeon. I could also do the tall pigeon here or the tall pigeon here. So this feels pretty good for me. This is great to do on your off day. Great to do on after the workout to cool down. I would not recommend doing this before the workout. You do want some stiffness as a powerlifter if you're doing strength training. Now we're going to go into our shin box. So I'm not going to use so if I wanted to, I could put something under me, so I'm just using my arm to kind of prop up. I could also kind of use the block here. I'm trying to get my pelvis and my rib cage stacked and square parallel to the floor. Now I'm going to go into my quad stretch. So I can come to the floor here. So I don't really need a block here, but I could grab something if I needed to, like a foam roller. Stretching my ankles, my quads, my chest. Very gentle here. Breathing through the nose. I could also just hang out here if I want to stretch out my ankles. I'm going to go to the other side. And we'll do some different drills today. Since it is my posing practice today, I'm also going to work on some internal rotation drills, because when you flare your lats, you need to be internally rotated at the shoulder, and that's something I lack. So we're going to work on some internal rotation. So I might kind of come here. And my shoulder mobility and health is getting a lot better since I've kind of stopped all heavy barbell benching. And I say heavy in quotations, but I'm only sticking to higher reps and not competition style. I've been doing some inclines and some dumbbells and some things like that. Good. Now we're going to go into the next drill. Notice I'm trying to keep that tall spine position. And if you have any questions, I'll try my best to answer them. If not now, you can always shoot me a DM later and I'll get back to you when I can. So even that little bit, I'm starting to slouch, so I'm gonna stay here. And that feels a lot better. Better positions. Hamstring. Especially hip mobility is really important as a power lifter. It's really important just for everyday life to get in a good squat position, a good deadlift position. So a lot of these drills really lend themselves to helping us get out of the bad positions that we're usually sitting, slouching, driving, texting. So getting that hip mobility, the hips moving, is key. We're going to go to tall pigeon again, the other side. So that feels pretty good for me, so I'm gonna stay here. Feel free to take out the block if you don't need it. Now we're gonna go into the shin box, and I'm gonna put the block over here. I have a little bit more external rotation on this hip. So this feels pretty good. And now we're gonna go into our hip flexor stretch and quad stretch again. I could use the blocks like this if I'd like, or just go to the floor. It feels really good. You can kind of squeeze your glutes and bring your hips up. There's some different things you could do and go into a camel pose there. I'm not flexible enough to do that, so. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to some different poses. I'm gonna show you some bench yoga. So this could be something you do before a bench press workout, if you're interested. So this would be what we call a cobra position. So I would not do this before I squat or deadlift, because we want to keep a neutral spine, but when I bench, and if I want to take advantage of the arch, this is a good way to help kind of build that. So I could do a cobra pose. And then I could also do a sphinx pose, which will get more of the upper back with my arms out in front. If you have an extension-based pain, you might want to either not do these or just do these with a smaller, more controlled range of motion. I'm trying to use my spine muscles actively to extend versus really press down onto the floor. So I'm really trying to actually use the muscles to get the range of motion. Okay. Now we're going to transition into a couple other poses, just slowly adding to the positions for the day. Again, if you're going to bench, doing something like a cat camel or cat cow, I'm going through flexion and extension can be helpful. I don't like to do this before a squat or deadlift, but before a bench press, it's a good way to prep the spine. Or maybe you're in a sport like gymnastics or fighting or grappling or wrestling where maybe having a more limber spine could be of a benefit. Something like powerlifting, we generally want the spine to be stiff, especially the low back. So it depends on what your goals are. We're gonna go into a bird dog. So when we're doing the bird dog in terms of yoga, the biggest difference between this and like a powerlifting activation warm-up is we're not really trying to have maximal contraction. We're just trying to work the positions. So I'm not bracing maximally, I'm not engaging my glutes maximally here. I could also just do one arm at a time, working on my stability, or one leg at a time. And I like to focus on the non-moving limbs, putting pressure into the ground versus the moving limbs. We're gonna go into a downward facing dog, or I like to say a downward facing pup because my range of motion is not great. I'm going to bring my hips to the ceiling. It's a good way to stretch the calves, the hamstrings. And from here I could walk my feet up into a forward bend. So here I'm letting my spine relax, and then I can go into a neutral position so I can understand the difference between a round and a neutral spine. So I'll show what that looks like from the side. So again, I would not want to do this before I deadlift or squat, but potentially maybe the day after, if you're feeling kind of stiff. From there, I'm going to come all the way up, and then come up from here. We're going to work on our balance a little bit. This is good for if you have ankle issues or you want to work on rooting in your squat, doing this one leg at a time. So I start at my calf, and then eventually come to my quad position. So I'm not perfect either, as you can see. And this we call a tree pose. I can come out here, and then eventually I could also do here, and then extend the leg back to an airplane. So this is really good for stability of the ankle and the hip, just to work on our balance and our ankle positions. So again, I can start here. We never want to go on the joint. Start with the calf, come to the upper thigh. I can come here, come here. Do that one more time. So we're going to start with, if we're new to balancing, we're just going to shift the weight to the one side, come to the foot, to the calf, to the inner thigh. I can let that leg come out. I can let the leg come out here, and then I can come back. Reverse, foot, ankle, calf, inner thigh. So this is helpful for rooting and stability. And oftentimes as powerlifters, we're often always on two legs. So it's really important to work that side to side hip and ankle stability and mobility. So I can come here. If I'm a sumo deadlifter or something like this, is going to be important. Here, here. I'm going to reverse. I messed that one up, but that's why we're practicing. Now I'm going to come back in reverse. Little bend, hips back, fold, back up, walk the hands back. Downward dog. Wiggle back to a plank. Lower slow. And relax. A little more cobras. And I want to finish off with our 90-90 breathing, and that'll be it for today. I don't want to give you guys too much. Okay, so we're going to do our 90-90 breathing. So I'm going to prop my legs up either on a wall just like this. Now for today, I'm going to move into transition from a 90-90 breathing to what's called a waterfall position. So I'm going to use the yoga blocks. This is also good to help alleviate some low back stress. So I'm going to move away from the couch. I'm going to put the block under my back. You don't necessarily need it, but when you're starting out, 1 or 2 blocks would be good. And I'm going to keep my legs as straight as possible. This helps the blood get back down to my lower back. And I can just hang here. I can flex, extend my feet. And you could also put your feet up against a wall. And this will be the final pose for today. You can go wide, you can go close. I'm gonna go wide today. We're gonna breathe into the belly. Hold. Exhale. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. I'm going to change my foot positions a little bit. It's a little closer now. And I'm going to try to wiggle my butt a little bit closer to the wall. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. And do one more. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. All right. So that is our second episode of Namaste Strong. I want to continue to show you guys some other things to help recovery, help with tightness, help with anxiety. It just helps you feel better. You need the yin to the yang. You need to work out. You also need to work in. If you guys have any questions, if you need help, shoot me a DM. If you found this helpful, please share it with a friend. Please give us a 5-star review. And until next time, stay strong. Namaste strong. And I'll see you soon. Bye.